What if one of the most disturbing figures in modern folklore is not just a ghost story, but a clue to how the human brain builds fear? Across online archives, sleep paralysis forums, paranormal communities, and personal testimonies, people describe a strangely similar figure. A tall black silhouette, a man-shaped shadow, no clear face. No normal human features, sometimes a long coat. Sometimes a cape-like outline, and again, one detail appears, a hat. This figure is now known as the Hat Man. But the real mystery is not simply that people see something frightening at night. The real mystery is that people who have never met each other often describe the same kind of presence, silent, dark, human-shaped, standing near the bed, in a doorway, or in the corner of a room. So the question is not only, is the Hat Man real? A better question is, why does the human mind keep producing him? To investigate this, we have to begin with one of the most scientifically studied explanations behind these reports: sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis happens during the transition between sleep and wakefulness. During REM sleep, the brain naturally paralyzes most of the body's voluntary muscles. This is called rematonia. It prevents us from physically acting out our dreams. But sometimes the system does not switch off at the perfect moment. A person becomes mentally awake, aware of the room, aware of the bed, aware of the darkness, but the body remains temporarily unable to move. That alone would be terrifying, but sleep paralysis often comes with something even more disturbing: hallucinations that feel as if they are happening in the real room. This is why the experience is so powerful. It does not feel like a normal dream. The person may recognize their own bedroom, their own wall, their own door, their own ceiling. Then, inside that familiar space, something impossible appears. Researchers have measured how common this phenomenon is. In 2011, psychologists Dr. Brian Sharpless and Jacques Barber published a systematic review of sleep paralysis studies. They analyzed data from more than 35,000 participants. Their results showed that about 7.6% of the general population had experienced sleep paralysis at least once. The rate was much higher among students, about 28.3%, and among psychiatric patients, about 31.9%. This matters because the Hat Man is not appearing in a rare, isolated mental state. He is connected to a condition that millions of people may experience at some point in life. In 2019, Sharpless and colleagues published clinical research on isolated sleep paralysis. One of the most important findings was that 57.84% of participants reported sensing a presence in the room during an episode. Many did not simply say, "I saw a shape." They felt that another being was there with them. This is where the Hat Man begins to make scientific sense. Before the brain creates a face, a coat, or a hat, it may first create the feeling of an intruder. That idea connects directly with the work of Cheyne and his colleagues. In sleep paralysis research, Cheyne identified recurring patterns in the hallucinations people report. These experiences often fall into three categories. The first is called the intruder experience, a sensed presence, fear, footsteps, whispers, shadows, or the feeling that someone dangerous is nearby. The second is called the incubus experience, pressure on the chest, difficulty breathing, pain, or the feeling of being held down. The third involves vestibular motor sensations, floating, falling, leaving the body, or moving through space. The headman fits most strongly into the intruder category. In many accounts, he does not attack immediately. He does not need to. He stands still. He watches. The terror comes from the certainty that he is present and aware. Cheyne's later work described sleep paralysis hallucinations as a kind of waking nightmare. The person is awake enough to perceive the bedroom, but REM-related dream imagery and threat systems may still be active. The brain is caught between two worlds, the real room and the dream state. If you dream of a monster in a forest, you wake up and realize the forest was part of the dream. But if you wake up in your own bedroom and see a shadow standing beside your door, the memory attaches itself to a real place. The fear becomes anchored to your actual room. Now we have to ask, why is the figure often a dark human shape? One explanation is threat detection. Human beings are extremely sensitive to bodies, faces, and movement in low-light conditions. From an evolutionary perspective, mistaking a shadow for a person may be safer than mistaking a person for a shadow. The brain is built to detect agents quickly, especially when afraid. During sleep paralysis, the person cannot move. Breathing may feel restricted. The body is vulnerable. The amygdala and other threat-related systems may be highly active. Under those conditions, the brain may interpret ambiguous visual information as a possible attacker. A coat hanging on a chair, a dark doorway, a tall shape near the wall, a shadow at the edge of vision. In an ordinary state, these are meaningless. In sleep paralysis, they can become a figure. The head may be the detail that turns a vague shadow into a recognizable figure. A brimmed outline gives the head a clear shape, transforming darkness into a character. This does not prove that every witness copied the same image from culture, but it suggests that the brain may use simple, high-contrast forms to organize fear. Still, culture plays a major role. Across the world, sleep paralysis has been interpreted in different ways. The old hag in Newfoundland, Kanashibari in Japan, jinn-related experiences in parts of the Islamic world, and Karabasan in Turkey. The biological pattern is similar, waking up unable to move, sensing a presence, feeling fear or pressure, but the explanation changes depending on belief and culture. Cross-cultural research by Bell and Jalil and Devin Hinton showed that interpretation can shape how terrifying the experience becomes. When sleep paralysis is understood as a supernatural attack, the fear may become stronger. When it is understood as a sleep phenomenon, it may feel less threatening. Science does not simply dismiss the head man, it makes the mystery deeper. If he is not an external being, then thousands of people may still be creating a similar figure through shared biology, rematonia, threat detection, visual ambiguity, cultural memory, and the illusion of presence. There is no verified evidence that a physical head man enters bedrooms. But the fear, paralysis, and sensed presence are real human experiences. The head man may be a modern myth built from ancient neurobiology, what happens when the dreaming brain, the waking room, and the survival system collide. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like the video, and join us in the next episode.